Welcome back to Not So Grand Garage. Today we're out in the driveway doing a little general maintenance to the old flatbed here. The glow plugs have been acting up on it. They've got 5 years on them now. I put them in when I put this engine in the truck, and I use a push button setup using a White Roger solenoid. It's a direct feed from the battery, so there's no voltage drop to them. So they take a little bit of abuse, but they work well. So anyways, we're going to get them changed out today, so let's get going. Now, as far as what you need to do this job, it's pretty straightforward. Use 1/4" ratchet, a couple extensions, 10mm deep well, 1/4" swivel. Pretty important if you've got a turbo setup. Anti-seize, very important. And a set of 8 Motorcraft ZD9 plugs. Here's the part number for those plugs. And you want to make sure they are stamped. See if I can get this to focus. Probably not. But Baru, Germany on the plugs. These are the only plugs you want to use. Everything else is pretty well garbage. So anyways, let's get going. As I said in the intro, these plugs are probably 5-ish years old now. And so they should be pretty easy to come out. I used anti-seize on the threads when I put them in. And yeah, they take a good bit of abuse, and with running on alternative fuel, glow plug system's pretty important. Okay, just to make things simple for me, I am going to start on the driver's side bank. Everything's fairly easy to get to over here, so I'm gonna pop this connector off, which I remade these harnesses right when I put these plugs in, when I put this motor in the truck. So the harnesses should be good. But yeah, time to go on and see if I can get one of these pulled out. A little bit of anti-seize on the threads, and ready to go back in. Again, a little on the crusty side, but I'm seeing some carbon buildup on them. But I'm not seeing any swelling, which is a big deal on these engines. The cheaper glow plugs really tend to start swelling in here, and they'll get stuck in the heads. They like to break the tips off, and that turns into a whole nother fiasco that you don't want to get involved with. So that's why I say the ZD9 Motorcraft plugs are the only thing you want to run in these. But yeah. sure that your plugs or your connectors are seated all the way down on the plug as well. This one, this one just broke. So, when that happens, these are just female bullet connectors. You can get them at any hardware store pretty well. So I think I've got one in there. I'll go on and just crimp a new end on this one. But for now, we'll keep going on replacing the plugs. Another thing you can do on these engines is use the 6-liter Power Stroke glow plug harness. They you can get cheap ones. They come in pairs typically. What you do is you cut the connector off of the far end where it would typically plug into the controller on the Power Stroke, and put ring terminals on them, and they will bolt right down to either the factory glow plug controller on the IDI or a solenoid or what have you. And the glow plug side fittings or connectors work really well, and it really cleans up the engine bay. Probably hard to see from those angles, but so that one on the far back on the driver's side. Okay. Now we have all 4 plugs in the driver's side bank, and there's our old ones. So now we get the fun side. This front one's not too bad. This one down in here's a little obstructed. If you can see my fingertips down there. The one under the turbo right there is the one most people have issues with. So we'll see how it goes. I have not put plugs in this engine since the turbo kit's been on it. So I guess we'll see what all the fuss is about. Well, I just checked my electrical box, and of course I do not have a bullet connector to replace that fitting that we broke off, so I'll have to pick one up here later this afternoon. But we'll go on and finish this up on this side. Okay, this one might be interesting to get to with the intake on, but I do not want to take this intake tube off because it's kind of a pain. So we'll see if I can work this extra long extension down in there. Connector off. Oh yeah. Here, you can see where the extension's dropping down between the fuel lines, or the injector feed lines. And not sure if you can see it down there or not. Probably not with everything in the way. So I'll come in this way. Right down here. Now I had to drop the socket down on there first because with the glow plug unscrewed all the way, the socket was not lining up straight because of the fuel lines. We are fully seated. Now if I can get that connector back on without breaking it off. And there's that one. Now for the fun one. This one is the one everyone really complains about and really struggles with, because there's so much stuff in the way with the turbo on. But you kind of see my hand down in here. My finger right there is on top of the glow plug. It's wiggling the harness a little bit. It is a tight fit down in there. So let me see what I can come up with to get down in there. See if I can work this down in there. And there goes my light again. But we are on the glow plug, it feels like. So let's see if we can get the pop loose. And I think we got it. Come on. And out. Ooh. And there we are. Not sure how well you can see down there with everything in the way, but I've got the glow plug under the turbo just resting in the hole now. You can kind of see the tip sitting up there. So I should be able to wiggle it on down and get the socket back on it, get it tightened up. That was a little bit of a pain, but not terrible. Just takes some patience. Okay, and I'll try again getting the socket on the glow plug. There it goes. Now it's seated all the way down on the plug. Let's see if I can work in our long extension and our little bitty swivel. This part will probably be aggravating. Let's see here. Hey, there we go. And now I think we've got this one knocked out. And now I just got to get the wiring connector put back on without breaking this one. And there we go. Wiring connector is seated. I'll give it a little push with the needle nose just to be sure. But yeah, connector is seated, so now we can move on back to that last one back there. So, to get to this last plug, if you've got a good long extension on your 1/4 inch, it will go under the turbine housing and slip right on that plug. It's almost a straight shot. Still got a swivel on it, but yeah, this should work out nice. There it went. Oh yeah, much easier than fighting it from that side. And I can actually reach down this way if it's all the way out. Got a couple threads left, I guess. Oh, come on, come on, come on. And there is number 8. Lay back down here. Cannot see where it goes. Oh, there it is. And there it goes. See if I can get this plug started by hand, which we're good there. Now I'll work the long extension back down in here. And we are on. Not too terrible, really. And there we are. And seated. And that's pretty well it. I gotta get that wire connector hooked back up and get a new bullet connector for this one over here. But not too bad. Probably about an hour to change all 8, maybe a little less. See if I can get this connector put back on from this side. Actually, I might even be better off doing that from over here too. Alrighty. And that's all 8 on the Turbo IDI. I still need to, like I said, get a female bullet connector for that one. I'll have to run down to the store right quick and pick one up and recrimp it, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, that all in, hook back up, and here are the 8 that came out. None of them look too terrible. There's a little bit of crusties on them from all the waste oil and everything else we burnt in this thing, but it's been 5 years since I've changed them, and a whole lot of oil has been ran through this thing, so that doesn't surprise me too much. There was, like I said, no swelling or anything like that, and really I could probably clean these tips out or clean these tips up and they'd probably be fine. I did not ohm them out or anything. I didn't check them. I just went on and replaced them for $60 for a set of them. It's just worth it to me to change them out, especially being as long as it has and the abuse this thing sees and the alternative fuels and everything else. I'd rather know they're all new. So anyways, I'm gonna get cleaned up and button this up. And we're back. Ran down to the store and picked up some female bullet connectors. And we're gonna go on and fix this wiring harness back here. Okay. There we go. Be sure to dump these connectors all over the place. Slide the new connector on there. And crimp it solid. Give it a little tug, make sure we're good. And come on down here and plug it back in. Now, this connector is loose, so to fix that, we're going to close this end up a little bit. Yeah, it won't take much. Just give it a little squeeze here. And when I push it back on, it is now a tight fit. There we go. So, now we've got all 8 plugs changed, got our wiring harness fixed. So let's see how it starts up. I'm gonna go on and give her about 8 seconds. On that note, I think I'm going to call it there. It's starting relatively good for what it is. And it's a little hazy, but it's a turned up mechanical IDI, so what do you expect? So if you haven't already, please subscribe. We appreciate you watching.